Good morning. Welcome to a new week. Do my bit while I'm waiting. Okay. All right. Just as I wait for everyone to get on, we are week 2 of this theme, which is ABHYASA VAIRAGYA. So practice or steady practice, and letting go, non-attachment. Many ways to put it. Whoops. Oh, too many there to pick one of those. Good morning, Pam. Okay, say hi, everyone. Let me know you're watching. Good morning, Dawn. So today, I'm not sure if anybody saw the post or who saw the post yesterday, but today is short practice week, being the second week. It is where we look a bit more somatically. So today we're going to do a pose that was within the last week's class this month sequence. And it's actually a yoga pose, but we're going to do it, we're going to break it right down and, just be very aware of the soma while we're doing this. So the pose is chair dog. So you're obviously going to need a chair. You could potentially do this, just on a bench, which, this is something I do often throughout the day, just on the kitchen bench or on the arm of the lounge chair, whatever. But for this practice, you grab a chair and a block if you have a block. If you don't have a block, that's okay, but it's much easier, especially when we're breaking down the actions, to have a block to get a sense of what I'm talking about. Good morning, Sal. So, okay, I'll keep going. I'll do the card and then we'll get into it. Okay. So, guess which one I got? So obviously, there was something in this card that we need to keep exploring because we got depth, the same card as last week. I love that when that happens. So again, I shall read this out, and we're going deep into chair dog today. Good morning, Karen. So let's have another listen. So as I said, you're going to need a chair. So we're going to start seated in the chair. We're going to finish seated in the chair. Okay, so do grab a chair if you haven't already got one. And you're going to sit there, start seated in the chair. So, sure, this was last week's card, but there's obviously something there that we still need to flush out for it to come again. Good morning, Pam, thanks. So you might like to close your eyes to see what lands for you, especially if you were here last week and you heard the card. You might be thinking, I don't need to listen to this again. Just have a listen and see what lands for you today. Depth. May you immerse and go deeper. The reflection. Deep underwater, intuition is heightened. Slower movement, muted sound, intensity of heartbeat and breath. So if you're someone who, if you're okay being in water, if you feel okay being in water, if you feel okay with your head beneath the water, feel free to imagine this. If you're someone who can imagine it but doesn't want to do it, then imagine it. But if this doesn't feel okay for you, just listen to the words maybe. But when you immerse yourself under the water, even if it's the bath and you've just got your ears under the water and your eyes closed, this is, our intuition is heightened. Our breath slows. We can hear our breath, that beautiful rhythm in our breath, and it slows and it deepens. We hear our heartbeat more. The sounds are muted. The external sounds are muted, but the internal sounds are heightened. An intensity of heartbeat and breath, that's definitely what you feel and notice. So if you're not one to go for a swim, have a bath and just pop your ears underneath the water and close your eyes and just notice what you notice. Okay, light beams serve as shifting spotlights. That beautiful, we've all seen photos of, under the water with the light coming down and highlighting, whatever's beneath the water. And this card is looking at that. There's things deep within us that get highlighted. And when we're more intuitive and open to seeing what's being highlighted through our practice, then we're more likely to see it. You're pulled deep inside yourself toward the unknown, toward your core. So the unknown, it's saying that when we're busy externally, we don't really know what's going on inside. We don't take notice of what's going on inside, but at the same time, sometimes there's things going on inside that we've pushed away or we've forgotten about. And that spotlight is trying to shine the light on that, trying to highlight that and allow it to be seen and moved. So I think, like this card has a lot for us to think about. The blessings. May you travel deep within. May you refocus. May you look beyond effects to the cause. May you reach the heart of the issue. So all of those are pretty much, what I've just said in that, toward the unknown, deep into your core, highlighting and spotlighting those things that want to resolve themselves, move up and out. And when I say move up and out, I mean the energy that's stored within the body, within the tissues, within the easy water, that just want to move up and out. The mantra, I adventure deep into my soul. You got to do that. If you want to do the work, you got to do that. All right. So I'll just have a little sip of water. Thank you for saying hi. If you get on the replay, let me know you've done the replay. That'd be great. Okay, so chair dog. We're going to break that down. This is a pose that you can do throughout the day. You don't need to be on your yoga mat. You can just slip it into different parts of your day, and I think you'll be surprised. I think you might be surprised with the cues that I give you, but also the difference that one pose can make. So before we even stand up, I'd like you to stay seated in your chair and just do your check-in here. So feet are on the floor, we're not slouching, obviously, we're upright. And just notice what you've brought to your practice this morning. So physically, what's going on? You might notice some aches or pains. You might notice areas of comfort today, ease. You might notice tiredness. You might notice areas that feel a bit out of whack, a bit off. Then notice your mind state, your running commentary that we have every single day, all day, every day. Most days it's the same commentary. Just notice your mind state this morning. Maybe it's quiet. If you practice regularly, especially daily, you'll probably notice that when you come to your mat or your cushion or your practice, regardless of where it is, even if it's just incidental practice throughout the day, you'll probably notice, or you may notice, that as soon as you begin this checking in process, your mind just quietens down. It knows what to do. Your mind knows what's coming. So all of a sudden you're quieter. That's a beautiful part of practicing regularly. And then notice your breath. Notice the depth, the rhythm. Notice where the breath is in your body. There's no need to, change anything. We're just observing. We're certainly not saying it's wrong or right even. That's the dispassion part of this theme is VAIRAGYA, not needing it to be a particular way. So it's neither good or bad, it's just as is. And then can you get an idea of your nervous system state in this moment? So sympathetic is activation. That's what gets us moving. It also, at a more heightened state, it takes us into stress and anxiety, etc. Ventral vagal is our calm, connected state. There's a little bit of sympathetic there. That's, the enjoyment and excitement of coming together. But it's in a safe, relaxed state. And then there's dorsal vagal, that shutdown response, which is you've gone through sympathetic all the way through, hit the wall, and now you've gone into overwhelm and shutdown. Hopefully no one's there today. Good morning, Shell. No worries. So where are you on this scale today, in this moment? And then come back to your breath and just begin now to move the breath a little, to control its rhythm a little. So notice your inhale, notice your exhale. Try and even it out if you can. You may like to count. You may like to just get an idea. I would say don't go straight to 4-4. It's too much, especially on the inhale. If you want to count, just find your natural inhalation. Count at that, so maybe it's 2 or 3. And then release. And feel your belly moving back toward the spine. Get all of the air out, or as much as you're comfortable with without straining. And then just allow the inhalation to arise. And over time, that will become longer and longer. The inhalation, yes, but the exhalation will also become longer. The inhalation just arises. Takes in just enough that you need. And then we let go of all the exhalation. So ideally, we don't want the inhalation to be longer than the exhalation. If anything, we want to be, especially at the beginning of practice, have an even count unless you are up in the sympathetic, like higher up in the sympathetic activation, then maybe exhale a little longer. It can be really difficult to lengthen your inhale for many, many people. We're stuck with short little inhales up into the chest, all of the breath up into the chest. Nice. And again, just notice how you feel now. Maybe a little bit more ease. Letting go of any idea of what it should look like, what it should feel like. Okay, now we're going to do ABHYASA. ABHYASA is practice. Yes, it is consistently coming back to your practice. But today we're going to look, as far as our physical practice is concerned, we're going to look at it as the doing part. Okay, we must do. And we also then must let go of any outcomes or any desires of what we think it should be. But we're going to go through the actions. So I'm just going to pop my chair on my mat. Hopefully, yep, that's in the right spot. Actually, I might bring it a little closer today. And you don't necessarily need a mat for this, but this floor is very slippery, so I'm going to use my chair. I'm going to pop my mat underneath so I don't end up going through the wall or through the door. There we go. Okay, now you're going to need a block. Before we even start dog, I want to do some actions with you first. In case you don't know, you're watching this and you're not sure what chair dog is, looks like this. Okay, that's chair dog. You can do it on your kitchen bench, you can do it on a table, wherever you want to do it, obviously. So the arms, now if you have shoulder issues, you're not going to be able to do the variations that I'm about to say. So you can do tabletop, standing tabletop. But let's just run through it first. So our hands, our arms are going to be up, okay? So we don't want them close like this. We want to take them a little wider, and we don't want the elbows bent, all right? So I'm going to cue you to straighten your elbows, yeah? Your hands, the index fingers, we want to make sure that they're pointing straight ahead, okay? So that means turning the hands open a little. They'll be wider, obviously. All right, so rather than that. Okay. And then when we lift our arms, our hands are on the chair, we reach them, and as we reach them, our elbows straighten. So what can happen is we do this, and that's not bad, and you'll hear lots of cues, drop your shoulders. That's not necessarily bad, but it's not great on the shoulders either, because reaching, when we reach naturally, our shoulders are meant to rise, okay? So we've got to find a balance between this reaching and dropping the shoulders down and finding length in the neck, okay? But that cue that you hear, drop the shoulders down, is a little bit much, really. You know, we take it a bit too far, which is, you know, we overcomplicate things, don't we? So what we're going to do is when we take our arms up, we're just going to relax. We're just going to relax. And you're going to turn your upper arms, your biceps, in, your triceps in. So what can happen is we do this. So straightening your elbows turns your upper arm, if you like, in this way, and rotating them that way. Okay? And then that'll broaden your shoulders. You can, if you practice with me, you can feel that. It kind of drops the shoulders just enough. Okay, rather than do this. It's very hard to do this. Straighten the elbows and rotate. Okay, so that's one cue. Then we're going to have, you can use your block, you can have that between your legs. Your feet are going to be just slightly wider than hip distance. Okay, so not close. Not easy to do with a block there either. And then again, your toes, the outsides of the feet are going to be parallel to the outsides of the mat. What that means is it's going to look like your toes are in slightly. And if you look at your feet, the outsides of your feet, and you line them up with the straight edge of the mat, you'll notice that the toes are in slightly. So what that's going to do is it's going to internally rotate your thighs. And you can feel that when you've got a block in there. So it can be wide or it can be on that smaller one. Depends how wide you got your feet, depends how comfortable it feels. You got to make sure that it doesn't impact your knees. So you work out which one. You might have to have it up a bit higher if it's small on the small side. That's okay too. So just standing like this, I want you to imagine pressing the block back. Okay, pressing the block back. What does it do? When you do that, it straightens the legs. Yeah? What you need to watch out for, though, is depending on if you're on your joints, if you've got hypermobile joints, I'll just pull my pants that way so you can see, then when you do that, you might hyperextend the knees, meaning it goes back that way. So we don't want to do that. So if you know that if it feels like that, and your knees are locking, but it's pushing the knees, the back of the knees back, then soften it a little, or bring your pelvis more to neutral, because sometimes when we do that, you can see what happens in my low back. My pelvis tilts forward. So tilt the pelvis back and it'll bring it back in line. Okay? And then the arms are at your ears. Okay? At your ears. And I'll show you what that's going to look like when we do it on the chair. Now, just jumping ahead, if you have something wrong with your shoulders, then you do table. Okay? You can do the same thing with tabletop. Okay, on, like on your feet. So we go back and you'll get the extension through the spine. So the first thing you want to look for when we're doing this pose is extension in the spine. Okay, so that'll be the first cue. Or it has to be honky. All right, you ready? Grab your chair. Have your block handy if you want to use it. Now don't worry about where you think your feet are going to be, because you'll sort that out as you get back there. You're not going to know where they need to be until you're there. But know that the feet need to be underneath the hips. Okay? Underneath the hips. So I'll show you what not to do. So we don't go all the way back there and be like this. Okay? We don't go like this. They need to be directly over. Okay? All right, so you pop your hands on your chair, take them all the way to the outside of the chair, so they're a little bit wider than shoulders. And then take a little look at where the middle of that is. So right in the middle between your hands on your chair, and then just draw a line with your eyes down, straight down the mat, and your feet are going to be equal distance away from that. Okay, so our feet are in line with our hands. So step back, wherever that is to start with, okay? And then what you're going to do, have knees straight, bent for now. Then what you're going to do is reach your sit bones back. Not your tail, but your sit bones back. And find length in your spine. Okay, so we want to lengthen the spine. Press your hands away. So reach with your hands and reach with your sit bones. And feel length in your spine. Now what you need to try and get toward is having your ears either side or alongside your upper arms. And all we're looking for is that, not that, and not that. Okay, so we want to get the spine aligned. That's the idea of that. If your arms are not, your shoulders aren't flexible enough, or your chest's not open enough that you can sink like that, make sure though that your neck is aligned with the spine. I might have to push that forward because I'm going to run out of space. I'm a bit longer than I thought I was. Okay, so we lengthen. So feeling length in your spine, have some bend in your knees if you like. Where am I at? Yep. What we don't want to do is, like banana down this way. All right, so upper arms rotate in slightly. We're not looking forward, we're not looking down, letting our head hang. If you've got the block between your legs, you can then rotate, internally rotate the thighs. So pressing that block gently back behind you. And notice what that does in your legs. Straightens the legs. So reaching the hands, reaching through the crown, lengthening the spine, so long spine, long waist, reaching out through the sit bones. And you'll notice I'm not round in the back. So if you are round in the back, bend your knees. You can still squeeze that block a little with your knees bent. Okay, again, fingers reaching, arms by your ears, reaching through the crown, upper arms are rotated in just slightly, let your elbows straighten, long waist, reaching through the sit bones, press that block back behind you, straighten your legs if it doesn't round your back. If it does, then we keep them slightly bent. And then can you be just in the pose? Let go of everything you've just done. So allow your body to support, the structure of your body to support the pose. And then soften everything that can be softened while maintaining this pose. You might like to close your eyes and actually imagine yourself now. It's kind of like when we are submerged underwater. Our breath is heightened, it slows down. You can hear our heartbeat. Notice what's happening. There's no good or bad, it's just awareness. Of course, we don't want to hurt ourselves. If something's hurting, then change your position or come out. Notice your breath. Be in the pose. And then slowly bring yourself up. So use the chair to support you. Walk your way in. Take the block out if you've got the block. Just take a moment in this half forward fold. Bend your knees and roll your way up to mountain pose. Lengthen through the spine. Press down into your feet. Reaching gently through the fingers. Use this as your counter pose. How are you feeling here in mountain pose? And then gently opening your eyes and taking a seat. Once you sit, let everything go. Let go of the practice that you've just done. It's done. Let it go. There's nothing you can change about what you've just done. So let it go. Let go of any thoughts about, oh, that was really, really good, or, oh, that was really, really hard, or that wasn't what I expected. Let go of all of that, and just be. Be with the result of the practice. Not how you thought it was going to be, not how you hope it's going to be. What are you noticing in your physical body? What are you noticing mentally, emotionally? We're not going to go to the nervous system just yet, unless you want to do a quick check-in. But come to your breath. Notice your breath. Is it different? Might be a little deeper, a little faster for now. Come to your exhalation. Enjoy nice long exhales. Allow your inhalation to just arise naturally to a length that it needs to. So we're not trying to control the inhalation, but we want a nice long, slow exhalation. If you let your belly just go at the end of your exhale, it'll allow for a nice, a beautiful inhalation rather than trying to control it. Let go of the belly, soften, and just allow your diaphragm to move. As you're being with your breath here, again, you might be able to notice those muted sounds. A heightened awareness of your breath, of your heartbeat, of your internal environment. And then at the end of your next exhalation, let go of your breath. Just allow the breath. Take the focus now to your soma. So the combination of what your physical body feels like, all mixed up with your thoughts, emotions, nervous system state, breath, all of it mixed together. What does this feel like in your body? Sort of nervous system state do you feel like you're in? Has it changed since your first little check-in? And if so, how? And you might be noticing as you sit here somatically meditating in this, the pre-meditation even state. You will probably notice things changing, different things vying for your attention. We're not attaching to any of those things and going into story. It's just an allowing. And Abhyasa, as Patanjali intended it to be, is the practice of meditation, of sitting. So we're still practicing, we're still doing. And we're releasing at the same time any desire to be a particular way or to have a particular outcome. We're not grasping to anything or for anything. And please feel free to continue your practice here, even if it's just for another minute or so after I've stopped talking and closed off the video. And just notice what you notice when you're on your own. When your focus is internal. I hope you enjoyed this little practice. Enjoy your day. Let me know how you went. Namaste.